Limbus Company's most played game mode has just seen an update that overhauled systems, added new content, and balanced out the strength of the available teams. Of course, I'm talking about the Mirror dungeons, or more specifically, the new Mirror of Immortality. Well, it's not exactly new, but the mode did not receive any super major changes until this week, so I'm talking about it today. In this video, I will go over the new theme packs and gifts, talk about the rebalancing of some popular strategies, and touch up on the further improvements to the Grace of the Stars system. This might sound simple, but there are a lot of things that I hate here, so stick around to hear me rant. But before we start, I have to remind you that most of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you find yourself coming back to my videos or end up enjoying this one, consider subscribing. It takes just 1 second and helps me out a lot. Without further ado, let's get back to the new dungeon. To get through all the additions and changes to the mode, I will be going over each category of systems that have been affected, and I'll go over the good and the bad parts of each one. However, do keep in mind that this video is very much just my opinion, more so than any other one of my videos. And in fact, one of the main reasons for this upload is that I want to hear what you think about the update, so make sure to leave a comment below. First, we'll start with the theme packs. Mirror of Immortality has currently added a total of 4 new theme packs. 3 of those are based on the game's story mode, and 1 reflects the current Refraction Railway. The first pack is the Dream Ending, featuring Sancho as the boss, with some enemies from the dungeon in 736 filling up the pack's nodes. It only appears on the 5th floor, and has 1 singular unique ego gift. The second pack is 4 Houses and Greed, featuring a bunch of Canto 8 mini-bosses as choices for its last encounter, with more Canto 8 enemies being normal fights. It also only appears on the 5th floor, and has 2 ego gifts that are unique to it. The third pack is the Surrendered Witnessing, which has the 2 big bosses of Canto 8 as choices for its boss fight encounter, and more Canto 8 goons in its nodes. Once again, the pack is exclusive to floor 5, and has 2 unique ego gifts. The last pack added is, of course, Line 5, which randomly chooses 1 section of RR5 as a long battle for you. Again, it's floor 5 only, and it's home to 3 different unique ego gifts. So, the good things about the new packs. Well, they're new. It's nice to fight someone unfamiliar sometimes. Also, 4 Houses and Greed specifically doesn't house any super long fights, making it just a mid option in a sea of other mid options. But now, the bad things. The other 3 packs are quite long, so long in fact that it can get annoying if you're just trying to get a clear in. Of course, no one is forcing you to pick them, but can you really say that the addition of 4 packs that you want to avoid is a good thing? Sancho gets a bunch of phase changes, meaning you can't actually hit her with more than 1 skill per turn for multiple turns in a row, which drags out the fight. The bosses of Surrendered Witnessing are simply large stat blocks that take a while to chew through. And RR5? Yeah, Section 3 is a drag. At least Section 1 is relatively quick in comparison. I haven't seen Section 2 though, so I can't say much about it. Overall, the new theme packs are mid. Like, they're not egregiously bad, but they don't really have any notable unique gifts, and take a bit longer than other packs to clear. For the purpose of doing my mandatory weekly hard dungeon, I don't think I'll be picking them, once I fully explore them for the compendium. Although I feel like fighting a 50,000 HP 400 roses would be kind of funny when the Infinite Mirror comes out. Next up, the gifts. In this section we'll be talking about both the new gifts added to the mode as well as the old gifts that got reworked here. We'll start with the new ones. Mirror of Immortality has brought in 8 themed ego gifts as well as 2 new EX rarity gifts. As much as I would love to pad time by reading through each and every gift's effects in detail, I'll just briefly go over them instead. Tenacity Bolus is a boring gift that gives defense level to an ally when they're hit. It might be useful for solos, but I'm not particularly familiar with that ordeal. However, Lightning X, Flower in the Mirror and Moon in the Water are all a bit more interesting, as they're all hybrid gifts that get stronger with more allies with their preferred keywords on the field. Unlike the many gifts that only have effects when you have enough allies that do a certain thing, these 3 gifts have a main base effect and a bonus effect that gets stronger and stronger once you reach certain thresholds in your team composition. Lightning X benefits Charge and Rupture identities, while the other 2 gifts benefit Rupture and Poise. Pretty unique. A drop allows you to sacrifice part of your bleed stack to turn it into Bloodfist and empower the Bloodfiend units on your team. It only activates with 3 or more Bloodfiends in your composition. Personally, I find the effect quite interesting, let's just say that. Shatterbound Cannon is a literal glass cannon that turns your sinners into glass cannons by giving them damage up and fragile, with the stacks increasing every turn. Honestly, this gift might be the most fun one introduced in Mirror of Immortality. Sorrowful Exhale is a poise gift that strongly empowers the identity in the 5th slot, by giving it extra damage when it has a lot of poise allies or a lot of poise on self. This one will probably lead to some quite funny numbers popping up in the Infinite Mirror dungeon. Or actually, you can probably get it to deal a bunch of damage already. The last themed gift is Coveting Thorn, and it just inflicts extra bleed count, gives extra Blood Fist, and inflicts defense level down. The bleed team will benefit from it, but probably not by too much. As for the EX gifts, these have been in the game for a week now, but I didn't get to talk about them before, so let me do that now. A certain philosophy fixes the fusion probability forecast to 100%, finally making the fusion process fully consistent. However, to get it, you need to fail a 99% probability fusion, which is when this gift replaces the random gift you would have gotten. It's a funny little addition that you won't see often, but that's kind of the point of the EX gifts. The other EX gift is Wealth, and you have a 1% chance of getting it from the Bizarre Machine event. Wealth fixes the cost of all gift purchases and enhancements to 1, and gives your sinners 1 offense level up for every 500 cost you have, up to 20. Once again, you will very rarely even get to see this gift, but when you do get it, it's quite fun. It sounds like it can do some crazy things in the Infinity Mirror, but we'll have to wait and see when that mode actually comes out. Now, what do I think of these gifts? First, the good. Overall, new gifts are always a good addition to the Mirror dungeons. As I've already said, I specifically really enjoy Shatterbound Cannon, but they're all interesting in one way or another. EX gifts are also something I find to be incredibly cool, unless you really care about filling out the compendium, in which case they're complete cancer. But to a casual player, a super rare special gift that entirely changes the flow of the run, like Wealth, is in my opinion quite awesome. It kinda sucks that the chance to get the gifts is so astronomically low, but if more come out, that should not be too big of an issue. Also, as the next entry will let you know, Kim Ji-hoon cares about the balance in this mode, for some reason. So that's probably why you can't get wealth in 99% of your runs. As far as the bet goes though, there's not much to say. Yeah, I can go off about how the gifts are nothing special and most of them aren't memorable, but isn't this the case with most Mirror Dungeon gifts? Yeah, I would have liked them to be more unique, but you can't really expect that, can you? And now, let me move on to the part I think you came here for. The buffs and nerfs to existing ego gifts. A total of 13 gifts were affected. Again, I won't be thoroughly examining all the changes, and instead I'll briefly go over the notable ones before starting my rant. In general, Sinking and Charge got buffed, and Rupture and Burn got nerfed. The Sinking buff came in the form of some cheap gifts interacting with Gloom skills now, and both of the keywords fusion gifts getting a bunch of extra effects. Impending Wave gives coin power now, and also inflicts a new reflux effect, which is basically burn, but blue. And the damaging effect of Black Sheet Music went from being Rupture but 10 times weaker to also increasing the damage output of all skills against low SP targets or enemies with a lot of sinking. The Charge team also saw some extra effects being added to its fusion gifts, and its tier 4 gift Charge type gloves got empowered as well. T1 machine now stacks charge potency faster and gives attack power up, and T5 machine now gives all allies self-resonant circuitry, which is an effect that sums up all the charge count owned and consumed by all allies, and increases the damage of all skills based on the sum of owned, while also giving offense level up based on count that was consumed. Charge type gloves add another long-ass effect to the first deployed ally, which in short just lets them consume more charge count and makes them stronger based on charge count consumed. Additionally, the N-Corp fusion gift Wholeness got changed, but not more than one person cares about that, so let's move on to the nerfs. Hot and Juicy Drumstick, Dry to the Bone Breast, Glimpse of Flames and Thrill all were nerfed in this update. Both of the chicken gifts have now been capped to only 3 activations per turn, greatly crippling their efficiency. But not only that cripples the teams, as Glimpse and Thrill have also been hard capped in a way where at ++ they can only deal just below 1000 damage per turn. Yeah, it's a far cry from what the gifts could do before. So yeah, let's talk about it. And immediately, why are we balancing the mirror dungeons? And even more, why are we nerfing the fastest teams? What the fuck? No, like actually why? I get the Sinking and Charge buff, okay? These teams were horribly slow and no one ran them for fast clears or any kind of farming. Sinking specifically also kind of sucked in the Infinite Mirror, so I get why it got buffed. I fully support this part. But nerfs? To Burn and Rupture? Why? Yes, they obviously were the fastest teams to clear the mode with by far. But is that an issue? Taking away the explosive power of these teams only serves to slow down farming, and does not make the boring SMD mode any more fun. Now new players will simply get less crates per day or per week or whatever, which will lead to them having less identities. Like, you can see who benefits from this nerf. Project Moon and their wallets. Which is something I hate to say, by the way, as the company has been incredibly generous with the gacha in Limbus, but this change is literally aimed at slowing down farming. I genuinely hate this. But to be quite honest with you, if you know what you're doing and you're farming efficiently, the nerfs won't actually impact you that much. In the normal difficulty, which is the one that's better for farming, enemies usually aren't healthy enough to withstand even the nerfed glimpse or thrill, with a full power thrill even being kind of unnecessary at times, due to the power of having 99 Rapture on an enemy. So luckily, PM undershot the nerfs a bit. But are the nerfs completely fine if they don't grind the teams into the dirt? No, not at all. What I specifically dislike is the precedent that this sets. If a gift allows quick farming of mirror dungeons, it will be nerfed, and that sucks, because it benefits none of the players. But what do you think about this? Am I overreacting, as I often do, or are my concerns valid? I'm very interested in hearing what you all have to say on this. Last but not least though, we have the new improved graces and the Starlight system. I'll be brief here. It's nice that rest bonus is gone and we can now accumulate Starlight. The grace upgrades are also pretty crazy and can lead to some fun overpowered runs. Overall, this system is much better than what we had in MD5 in my opinion, because it can lead to more builds and cooler synergies. I can't wait for the infinite mirror so I can put every grace at ++ and go demolish Honglu's grandma on the 10th floor. I can't say there's anything wrong with this system, and I'm super glad this change was made. Only good things here. So, overall, is the new Mirror of Immortality better or worse than Mirror of the Dreaming? Well, there are more packs and more gifts, which just means more content, and the main resource system is much better. But the nerfs to Glimpse and Thrill killed Burn and made Rapture slower in the hard mode as well. I'd say the mode is just slightly better than what we had before, and Starlight is doing most of the heavy lifting here. The nerfs set an annoying precedent, but overall it's not as bad as I can make it seem. Did I want more changes? Yes, obviously. Did I expect more changes? No, as Project Moon really don't innovate with mirror dungeons anymore. Another mid-update, but at least we're getting Walpurgisnacht next week, and the Queen of Hatred stuff looks awesome. Make sure to check out my videos on that event when it comes out. But yeah, if you disagree or have something to add, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll make sure to read all of them. If you enjoyed the video at any point, leave a like to let me know, and if you want to see more like this, consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye!